Myself, this is G. Mahesh Kumar, Assistant Professor of Chemistry. Today, the environmental sustainability. Today, we are going to discuss about the topic of discussion is environmental legislations. In that, Environmental Protection Act 1986 and AIR Act 1981. The topics today we are going to discuss is environmental legislations. In that, environmental legislations, first one is Environmental Protection Act 1986 and AIR Act 1981. AIR Act 1981. Now coming to the what actually the environmental legislations are. These are the laws that protect the environment. Environmental legislations are the laws that protect the environment. The collection of laws, regulations, agreement, and the common law that governs how humans interact with their environment is nothing but environmental legislations. Environment legislations are nothing but the laws or the collection of laws, rules and regulations, agreements and common law that governs how humans interact with the environment is called environment legislations. It includes the environmental regulations, law governing management, natural resources such as forest, minerals, fisheries, and related to topics such as environmental impact assessment (EIA). Okay, in the environmental legislations, it includes the regulations, laws governing the management of the natural resources such as forest, agriculture, minerals, fisheries, and the related topics such as environmental impact assessment, that is EIA, environmental impact assessment related to the environment. All these comes under the environmental regulation and environment legislations, the laws governing to the management. The environmental law is seen as a body of laws concern. Okay, it has been seen as a body of laws with the protection of living things. Here, the laws which are concerned with the protection of living things like human beings, inclusive from the harm that human activity immediately eventually cause them or the species or the animal plant species either or indirectly to the media and habits that which depend on the environment. Here the laws includes the body of environment concerned with the protection of living organism from the harm that human activity may immediately cause to them or through the species. Okay, either in the form of any species, it may cause harm to the environment or directly or indirectly through the media and the habitat on which they depend is we are going to discuss in the environment legislations. In the environment legislations, all these laws we are going to the governing bodies and the management of natural resources such as forest, minerals, fisheries, and the environmental impact assessment. All this comes under the environment legislations. All this comes under the environment legislations. Now, what actually as we are discussing about the Environmental Protection Act 1986, in the environmental legislations there are two acts. One is Environment Protection Act 1986 and one more is AIR Act. In these two acts, the first act is Environmental Protection Act 1986. It comes under the environmental legislations. One is Environmental Protection Act 1986 and the AIR Act. Now, today, the first one is Environmental Protection Act 1986. What actually this act says? According to the National Environmental Policy, NEP, National Environmental Policy, NEP, and here The government of India constituted the central body for prevention and control of various pollutions. In the central government of India, under the guidance of Central Board of Prevention and Control of Various Pollution Acts, Water Act, Water Act 1974, Air Act 1981, Environmental Protection Act 1986. There are under this board, there are three acts. One is Water Act 1974, Air Act 1981, and Environment Protection Act 1986. Okay, this we are going to discuss what is Environmental Protection Act, what are the rules and regulations of this Environment Protection Act 1986. Okay, several other acts are there and rules were enacted accordingly. All the state governments also constituted the pollution control boards in their respective states and accepted in their legislative assemblies. One is Air Act 1974, Water Act 1974, Air Act 1981, Environmental Protection Act 1986. All this comes under National Environmental Policy. Okay, it is a central body which constitutes the prevention and control of various pollution acts such as Water Act, Air Act, and Environmental Protection Act 1986. Along this, beside this, there are some other acts, several other acts and rules were enacted. Accordingly, all the state government also constituted to control the pollution boards in their respective states and accepted them in the legislative assembly. Now we are going to discuss about the what actually this Environmental Protection Act 1986 says. Okay, what actually Environment Protection Act 1986 says about this act came into force on November 1986. Okay, this act was implemented or it came into force on November 1986. November 1986. That is the reason we are calling it as Environmental Protection Act 1986. In the month of November, the act has been came into force. What are these rules of this act? Okay, Environmental Protection Act. Here it includes the interrelationship between biotic. Biotic is nothing but plants, living organisms. Okay, living organisms is nothing but biotic component, and abiotic is nothing but non-living component. Living component is nothing but biotic component, and abiotic components are nothing but non-living components. Non-living component. It includes interrelationship between biotic component and abiotic component. Living organisms and non-living organisms are comes into this Environmental Protection Act 1986. Okay, what actually this is? Okay, any solid liquid or gases, any solid liquid gases substance present in a concentration higher than required, okay, which causes injuries to the environment is called environmental pollution. What actually the pollution is? Any substance which are present higher than the required, it leads to the pollution. Okay, either it may be physical, chemical, or biological. It harmful to both plant and human beings is nothing but environmental pollution. Okay, it is a substance. It may be solid, liquid, gaseous substance present in the such a concentration higher than the required, which causes injuries to the environment is called environmental pollution. Environmental pollution. The act has given powers to central government. This Environmental Protection Act has given power to the central government to take measures to protect and to improve the environmental, while the state government coordinate their actions. State government coordinate their actions. The act has given powers to the central government. Central board will be taking care of this act, along with their also take the measures to protect and improve the environment, while the state government coordinate the actions. Here, what are the actions they are required for this Environment Protection Act 1986? Environment Protection Act 1986. Standards of quality of air. Okay, according to this, there is a standard in the quality of air, water, soil for various areas. According to this Environment Protection Act 1986, there should be a standard in the quality of air, water, soil for the various areas. And second, it gives second one, the maximum permissible limits of concentration of various environmental pollutants for different areas. There should be some permissible limits for the concentration. Okay, how much amount of required amount of substance that should be present in a particular area can be explained by this act, Environment Protect Act 1986. Protect Act 1986. The procedure and safeguard for the handling of hazardous substances. Okay, it also gives the procedure how we need to safeguard the requirements like chemicals, handling of hazardous substances in the different areas as being given by this act, and prohibition and restrictions. Prohibition and restrictions on handling of hazardous substances in different areas. Okay, we need to prohibit and we need to restrict the handling of hazardous substance. Hazardous are nothing but the harmful substances, harmful or dangerous substances that should be present, that should be prohibit and that should be restrict on how they have to handle the substance in different areas can be given by this act. And the prohibition and restriction on location of industries. Okay, where the particular industry has to be located and where not to be located can be given by this act. The prohibition and restriction on the location of industries and to carry on the process or to carry on the process operations in the different areas. Prohibition and restriction on locations. Locations also where the industries has to be located, where it has not to be located can be given by this Environment Protection Act 1986. And process and to carry on process and operations in the different areas can be given by this act. Procedure and the safeguard for the prevention of accidents. Okay, what are the procedure required to prevent the accidents in a particular area can be given by this act. Okay, what are the procedures we need required and how we are going to safeguard with that particular thing for the prevention of accidents can be given by Environmental Pollution Act 1986. Pollution Act 1986. All these are the rules that given by the Environmental Protection Act. Still we have some more rules. First one is standard quality of air, okay, water and the soil for the various areas. Maximum permissible limit of concentration of various environmental pollution for different areas. Procedure and safeguard for handling of hazardous substances. Prohibition and restriction on handling of hazardous substances in different area. Okay, the procedure, okay, how safeguard for the prevention of accidents can be given by the Environmental Pollution Act 1986. Some more, okay, some more here it gives that totality of surrounding conditions for the comfortable living organisms. Environment is the area where we can live. Okay, this place or the area where we can live can be nothing but the environment. Totality of surroundings conditions for the comfortable living organisms. Living organisms. The environment includes air, lake, forest, farms, vegetation, other biological life such as animals, plants, bacteria, and microorganisms. All these are comes under the environment. The term environment is nothing but the totality of living and non-living organisms. Living and non-living, comfortable of living organisms. Environment is the area which we can live. Surroundings, particular surrounding, we call it as environment. Environment, it includes the earth, okay, lakes, forest, farm, vegetation, and other biological life such as minerals, plants, bacteria, microorganism. All these are comes under the environment the definition of environment. And here the procedure and safeguard for handling of hazardous substances, and prohibition and restriction on handling of hazardous substances that are present in the different areas, and prohibition and restrictions on the location of industries to carry out the process, to carry on the process and operations in different areas, procedure and safeguard on the prevention and prevention of accidents which may cause the environmental protection. These are some of the rules and regulations given by the Environmental Protection Act 1986. Next, the power of entry. The power of entry and inspection. The power of entry and inspection and power to take sample lies within the central government. Okay, the power should be within, and the entry and inspection and the power to take sample lies within the central government itself. Okay, there should be to improve the quality of environment standards have given under the schedule 1 to 4. Okay, these are some of the schedules given 1 to 4. Standards have given for emission of gases pollutants. Here the some of the standards have given for the emission of gases pollutants and discharge of wastewater from the industries. Discharge of wastewater from the industry. These standards vary from industry to industry. Okay, these standards, they are given some standards in that the emission of gases pollutants should be minimizable, and the discharge of wastewater from the industries has to be minimized. Okay, these standards should be vary from one industry to the another industry, and also vary with the medium to the medium, in which the effluents should be discharged and the area of emission should be taken care of. This Environmental Protection Act 1986. For example, if you take maximum permissible limits of BOD, that is nothing but biological oxygen demand. BOD is nothing but biological oxygen demand of wastewater is 30 ppm. Okay, the maximum permissible limits of BOD, biological oxygen demand of wastewater, is it is 30 ppm if it is discharged into the inland waters. Okay, if it is discharged into the 30 pm, it should present 30 pm should be present if it discharged into the inland waters. 350 ppm in the public sewage. Sewer is nothing but sewage. 100 ppm in the coastal region. Okay, these are the some of the maximum permissible limits of biological oxygen demand of wastewater. 30 ppm is discharged if it is in inland waters. 350 ppm it is in the sewage water, public sewage. 100 ppm in the coastal regions. These are the some of the variations that we observe for the maximum permissible limits of BOD, biological oxygen demand of wastewater. Biological oxygen demand of wastewater. Okay, here they given the quality of environment standards have given under the schedule 1 to 4, and also giving the emission of gases pollutants and discharge of wastewater from the industries. The standards should vary from industry to industry, and also vary with medium to medium, in which the effluent discharge and the area of emission should be there. And they give the maximum permissible limits of BOD, biological oxygen demand of wastewater, should be 350 if it is discharged into the inland water, 350 ppm in the public sewage, and 100 ppm in the coastal region area. These are the some of the rules given by the Environment Protection Act 1986. Environment Protection Act 1986. Okay, here the State Pollution Control Board. There are some central control board, and also state government. State Pollution Control Board have followed the guidelines to be provided under the Schedule 6. Okay, under Schedule 6, they have we have Schedule 1, Schedule 2, Schedule 1 and Schedule 2, Schedule 3 and Schedule 4. These are the 4 schedules given by this Environment Protection Act. Okay, under the Schedule 4, 6 is given as Schedule 5 and Schedule 6. Under Schedule 6, it is given that Schedule 6, they are advised that industries for treating the wastewater. What are the industries that has advised the industries for treating the wastewater and the gases with the best available technology to achieve the prescribed standards. They have advised this state pollution control board has given the following guidelines under the schedule 6. What they give means they have advised to industries for treating the wastewater and gases with the best available technology. We need to treat the water, what are the technology available, and to achieve the prescribed standards. Here, the industries have to be encouraged for the recycling and reusing of wastage. Industries have to be encouraged for recycling of waste and also reusing of the waste. Recycling of the waste and reusing of the industries has to be encouraged with the recycling and reusing of waste. They have to encourage the industries for recovery of biogas. Okay, from the waste we are going to generate the biogas. Okay, from how we are going to generate it has to be encouraged by the industries and energy and reusable materials. What are the materials that are we can reuse from the environment can be given by this state pollution control board as following guidelines and the schedule 6. One is to advise the industries for treating the wastewater. Industries has to be encouraged for recycling and reusing of the waste and to encourage the industries for recovery of biogas, energy and also reusable materials. All these are comes under the state pollution control board has given the some of the guidelines under the schedule areas. Okay, under this standard of quality of air and water and soil for the various areas and maximum permissible limit of concentration of various environmental pollutants for different areas, procedure for and safeguarding guarded for the handling of hazardous waste as given by this, and the prohibition and restriction of handling of hazardous substances in the different areas. Okay, these are the some of the rules regulations are given by the Environmental Protection Act 1986. Environmental Protection Act 1986. Prohibition and restriction on the location of industries to carry on the process and operations in the different areas. Procedure and safeguard for the prevention of accidents and which may cause the environmental pollution. Okay, the power of entry and the inspection. The power of entry and the inspection and the power to take samples, it should be lies within the central government. It has given the 4 schedules, that is Schedule 1, Schedule 1 and Schedule 2, Schedule 3, Schedule 4. Okay, it gives about the improve the quality of environment. Improve the quality of environment standard and have given under the Schedule 1 to 4. And the standards have given for the emission of gases pollutants. Emission of gases pollutants and the discharge of wastewater from the industries has been given by this Environmental Protection Act 1986. Environmental Protection Act 1986. This also given the standards vary from the industry to industry and also vary within the medium in which influent discharge and the area of emission can be taken place. Okay, it should be some. These are the some permissible limits of biological oxygen demand. If it is 30 ppm, if it is discharged into the inland waters, 350 into the public sewerage, and 100 ppm if it is in the coastal region. These are some of the acts, that is rules and regulations that given by the Environmental Protection Act 1986. It is came into the force on 19th December 1986. Okay, the main purpose of this act is it shows the interrelationship between the biotic and abiotic component. Biotic component is nothing but the living component, and abiotic component is nothing but the non-living component of the organism is nothing but abiotic component. Abiotic component. Here, what it explains how we are going to protect the environment. Protection of Environment Act 1986. Okay, here what is pollution? Pollution is any thing that creates the uh, harm to the resources is nothing but pollution. The substance or any solid, liquid, gaseous substance present in a concentration which greater than the required concentration, which creates injuries to the environment, is called environmental pollution. It may be physical, chemical, or biological thing that may creates harmful to both man and human beings, and environment is called as environmental pollution. Okay, the act has given the powers to the central government to take measures and protection of improvement environment, while the state government coordinate the action. Okay, these are some of the prohibitions, that the standards, rules and regulations given by the Environmental Protection Act 1986. Environmental Protection Act 1986. They gave some rules. There should be standard quality of air, water, soil for the various areas, and there should be some limits of permeable concentration. Like, for example, take this as a the permissible limits for biological oxygen demand of wastewater should be 30 ppm if it is discharged from the inland water. Okay, it is from the if it is from the inland water, it should be 30 ppm. And if the water is discharged from the public sewerage, the ppm, it should be 350 ppm. It should be 350 ppm. If the water that is discharged from the coastal regions, it should be 100 ppm. Okay, these are some of the permissible limits of biological oxygen demand of the wastewater. Biological oxygen demand of the wastewater. Okay, these are some of the conditions that given by the given by this Environmental Protection Act 1986. Environmental Protection Act 1986. Okay, it has some powers of entry, inspection, standards, quality, and the permissible limits, procedure and safeguard, prohibition and restriction on handling of hazardous substances, harmful substances, dangerous substances that are present in different areas, and also prohibition and restriction on location of industries to carry out the carry on the process and operations in the different areas. And it also gives a procedure how we need to safeguard from the prevention of accidents which may cause the environmental protection. These are the some of the rules and regulations of the Environmental Protection Act 1986. It is given by National Educational Policy. Under this National Education Policy, it includes all this. One is Water Act 1974, Air Act 1981, and EPA, Environmental Protection, and the short form we call it as EPA 1986. Environmental Protection Act 1986. Okay. Beside this, there are some other acts and rules were also enacted accordingly. All the state government also considered the pollution control boards in the respective states, and their assemblies. They have enacted these acts. Okay, this comes under the National Environmental Policy. Environmental policy as given under the guidance of Government of India, constitute the central board for the prevention and control of various pollution acts. Prevention and control of various pollution as given by the NEP, National Environmental Policy. Under this act, there should be one Water Act, Air Act, and Environmental Protection Act 1986. Besides this, there are some other acts and rules were enacted All these state government constituted the pollution control boards in the respective states are accepted in the legislative assembly. These are some of the guidelines given by the Environmental Protection Act 1986. Environmental Protection Act 1986. Okay, the laws that protect the environment, collection of laws, regulations, agreements, and common law that governs the how humans interact with the environment is nothing but environment legislation. Environment legislation is the law that connect with the protect the environment. Collection of laws, regulations, agreements, common law that governs the how human interact with the environment is nothing but environment legislation. Okay, it includes the environmental regulations, law governing the management natural resources such as forest, minerals, fisheries, and related to topics such as environmental impact assessment, EIA. Environment impact assessment also comes under this environmental legislations. Environmental legislations. This law is seen by the body of law concerned with the protection of living things from the harm that human activity may immediately or eventually cause to them or species, either directly or media in the it may be directly enters into the body or in the through media that affect the environment habit on which they depend is nothing but the environmental legislation. Under this environmental legislation, the Environmental Protection Act 1986, okay, it is given under the National Environmental Policy. National Environmental Policy has given these three laws. One is Water Act 1974, Air Act 1981, Environmental Protection Act 1986. Environmental Protection Act 1986. Now, next, Air Act 1981. Okay, what actually this definition under this act is air pollutant. What is air pollutant? It may be solid, liquid, gaseous substance. Okay, air pollutant. It may be solid, liquid, gaseous substance, including the noise present in the atmosphere in such a concentration as may be tend to injure us. Okay, it may cause injuries to the human beings or other living creatures, the plants and the property or environment is nothing but pollutant. Okay, it means the presence in the atmosphere of any pollutant is nothing but air pollution. Air pollutant and air pollution as given, it may be a solid, liquid, gaseous substance, including the noise present in the atmosphere in a concentration as may tend to injurious to the human beings or other living creatures, plants, property, or environment. The process, the substance present in the atmosphere of any kind of air pollutant is called as air pollution. Air pollution. Okay, thank you.
Like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.